Have you ever thought about how powerful Professor Minerva McGonagall really was? What if the movies left out some of the most incredible details about her life? In today's video, you will discover secrets about McGonagall's strength, past, and the moments that never made it to the screen. The Harry Potter series is full of unforgettable characters, but even among them one stands out: strict, brilliant, and endlessly loyal. Minerva McGonagall wasn't just a professor, she was a force to be reckoned with. Students feared her, yet respected her deeply. Her colleagues trusted her judgment, and when the moment called for it, she became a warrior. But how did she rise to such prominence? What made her one of the most skilled witches of her time? And what moments from her story were left out of the films? Minerva McGonagall was born in Scotland to a Muggle priest and a witch. Her mother hid her magic for years, fearing her husband's reaction. When the truth came out, it created a rift in the family. They still loved each other, but trust was never the same. Young Minerva grew up watching her mother struggle between two worlds, longing for the magical life she left behind, while her father wrestled with the idea that his wife was, in his eyes, a witch. At Hogwarts, McGonagall immediately drew attention. The Sorting Hat took an unusually long time deciding between Gryffindor and Ravenclaw. In the end, her bravery won out. She became one of Gryffindor's brightest students, excelling in Transfiguration and earning a reputation as a strict but fair leader. Her personal life was marked by heartbreak. After graduating, she fell deeply in love with a Muggle man. When he proposed, she almost said yes, but she knew that marriage would mean giving up her magical ambitions. She made the painful choice to walk away, leaving behind love for a future in the wizarding world. McGonagall's first job was at the Ministry of Magic, where she quickly gained recognition. Her superior, Elphinstone Urquhart, admired her talent. But London bored her. She longed for Hogwarts. When Dumbledore offered her a teaching position, she accepted immediately. Years later, Elphinstone proposed to her. She refused. Her heart still belonged to the Muggle man she had left behind. Only much later, after years of loneliness, did she finally say yes. Their happiness was short-lived. Just 3 years into their marriage, Elphinstone died from a rare plant's venom. It was a devastating loss, one she never fully recovered from. As a professor, McGonagall was both respected and feared. She was a strict disciplinarian, but she cared deeply for her students. She upheld the rules like her father, yet possessed the sharp wit and talent of her mother. When Voldemort rose to power, she played a crucial role in resisting him. Though she never officially joined the Order of the Phoenix, she worked closely with Aurors, gathering intelligence on Death Eater movements. During the reign of Dolores Umbridge, McGonagall was one of the few who dared to stand up to her. In one legendary moment, Umbridge interrupted her lesson, trying to assert dominance. Without hesitation, McGonagall shut her down with a sharp remark, leaving the entire class in stunned silence. And then came the Battle of Hogwarts. McGonagall led the school's defense, casting powerful enchantments to shield the castle. She single-handedly animated Hogwarts' stone guardians, commanding them to fight. In the chaos of the final battle, she even faced Voldemort himself. She couldn't defeat him, but she didn't back down either. After the war, she took her rightful place as Hogwarts headmistress, serving until old age. But just how powerful was she? McGonagall was one of the greatest Transfiguration masters, second only to Dumbledore. She was an animagus, capable of transforming into a cat at will. She used this ability to spy on Death Eaters. Her Patronus was also a cat, and she could summon multiple Patronuses at once, something few wizards could do. She was skilled in combat magic. During an attempt to arrest Hagrid, 4 Aurors attacked her at once. They only managed to bring her down by sheer numbers, Many believed that in a fair duel, none of them could have bested her. Her most impressive feat? Activating Hogwarts' legendary protection spells, a task so advanced it was typically reserved for headmasters. McGonagall wasn't just a professor, she was a legend, a fierce protector of Hogwarts, a woman who stood against darkness time and time again. Her story is one of strength, sacrifice, and an unwavering sense of justice. And yet, despite everything she did, the movies only scratched the surface of who she really was. Minerva McGonagall stood at the window of her office, gazing at the snow-covered grounds of Hogwarts. Few knew the weight of the past she carried. She was strict, fair, and fiercely loyal to her students, but beneath the surface there were secrets she never shared. Some were buried in time, hidden behind her stern demeanor. Others whispered in the shadows, known only to a select few. What did Minerva McGonagall hide? There were rumors among older Hogwarts staff. Whispers that she had once loved someone deeply, only to lose him in a way that changed her forever. The story was never officially told, but those who paid attention could find traces of it in her behavior. McGonagall had never married, never spoke of any romantic entanglements, but there was something in her eyes, a fleeting sadness when she watched young lovers walk through the castle. Had she once dreamed of a different life? During the First Wizarding War, she fought alongside the Order of the Phoenix. She was one of Dumbledore's most trusted allies, yet there was one battle she never spoke of. It was said that she had faced a Death Eater alone, someone from her past. Some suspected it was someone she once trusted, perhaps even loved. We must all make choices between what is right and what is easy, Dumbledore had once said. Had Minerva been forced to make a choice that haunted her? An old photograph found in the archives of the Daily Prophet showed a young McGonagall in her early 20s. Beside her stood a man, a handsome wizard with sharp features and dark, knowing eyes. The caption beneath the photo had long faded, but there were those who remembered his name. Duncan Ross. He had been a rising star in the ministry, a brilliant mind with an affinity for transfiguration. Some said he had been Minerva's equal, her intellectual match. But what had become of him? There were no records of Duncan Ross after 1955. His name had vanished from ministry documents, as if he had never existed. A few old colleagues recalled that he had been investigating something dangerous, a hidden group working within the ministry, tied to dark magic. Some speculated he had discovered too much. Others believed he had disappeared by choice. But Minerva McGonagall never spoke his name. Why? In 1971, when Severus Snape first arrived at Hogwarts, there was a moment between him and McGonagall that few noticed. The way her expression shifted for a fraction of a second, as if seeing something or someone she wished to forget. Snape was young, but his presence carried a strange familiarity. He was intelligent, ambitious, and drawn to the dark arts, much like Duncan Ross had been. Could it have been a coincidence? There was a single letter locked away in the depths of the Hogwarts library. Written in a firm yet elegant hand, signed only with the letter M. It spoke of regret, of a mistake made long ago. "We were blind," it read. "We thought knowledge was power, but some truths should never be uncovered." The letter was never delivered. Who was it meant for? Minerva McGonagall rarely spoke of her own school days. She had been a Gryffindor, a brilliant student, but there was a time when she had nearly walked a different path. As a young witch, she had been fascinated by experimental magic, spells that few dared to test. There were stories of an incident in her 6th year, a duel gone wrong, a charm that backfired, a classmate nearly lost. "I will not allow recklessness in my house," she often told students. Perhaps she had once learned that lesson the hard way. Some students whispered of a secret room in Hogwarts, one that only McGonagall knew how to open. A hidden chamber beneath the Transfiguration classroom where she kept something locked away. A book, a relic, a memory. No one knew for sure. But those who stayed late at night sometimes heard footsteps in the empty halls, the sound of a door closing where no door should exist. In the final battle of Hogwarts, McGonagall had fought with unmatched fury. She had led the charge, standing between her students and the forces of darkness. But there was a moment, just before the battle began, when she had paused. Her gaze had drifted to the ruins of the Astronomy Tower. Had she been remembering someone, a promise made, a secret buried? Years later, after Voldemort's defeat, an old wizard came to visit Hogwarts. He was frail, his once dark hair now silver, his eyes tired. He had no appointment, no reason to be there. When McGonagall saw him, she did not speak. For a moment, time seemed to stop. Then she nodded ever so slightly. No one knew what passed between them. The man left without a word. He was never seen again. McGonagall never wrote a memoir, never shared the full story of her past. She remained the same, strict, wise, unyielding. But every so often she would linger at the window of her office, staring into the distance, as if waiting for someone or remembering something lost long ago.